Good morning, my YouTube viewers. It is Palestine here. Welcome to my channel. I'm home now. Sort of happy to be home. I mean, obviously, I was a bit worried when I came home yesterday. I was worried that maybe something had been done to my flat, but so far I came home and the flat seemed okay. So I'm glad to be home, and next week I have to go back to work, and when I go back to work next week, I have to ask to have some certain software installed on my computer, because basically I want to learn how to use this software so I can progress in my profession, and obviously stay in a job. I mean, that's the way the job situation is now. You have to constantly be trying to find new things to do to stay in your job, you know. But what this video is a trip report, because I told you that I was going to give you a trip report of my visit to a coastal town in southern England to visit my boyfriend's mother. And so basically, when we got there, we took the train to this town. And when we got there, I said to my boyfriend, I said, well, shall we go to the Asda and get something to eat for lunch? I said, because I know she's not going to have any food to eat and we're going to be hungry. So he phoned her up and said he wanted to get something at Asda. And she just said, well, get something for me. You know, she doesn't care about how much money I spend, you know. And then so basically we went to Asda, and then we got to our home. And then we had to sit in the bedroom talking about some issues. And it was hot. Her house was burning up. It's at least 5 degrees Celsius higher inside the house than it is outside of the house. But because she's got some neuropathic problem, she can't feel the heat. So for her, it's nice and cozy. She can't feel the heat. And when I came in, it was sweltering. And I asked her, I said, have you turned the heat on? And she said, no. And I said, it's really hot in here. So I'm sitting there in this bedroom with all the windows closed, and it's burning up. It's 5 degrees Celsius hotter inside the house than it is outside of the house. And then so we went into the kitchen, and I told her, I said, look, I said, you need to be careful. I said, you're sitting in this house with all the windows closed. I said, you're going to give yourself a heat stroke. What about me? I got to have a heat stroke. Not just her. I got to have a heat stroke. And my health is worse than her health. And basically she says, well, you can open a window. She doesn't even know how to open a window because she never opens the window. She sits in the house with the windows closed. So we found a key, and we were able to open the window just a little bit, but it didn't stay open long because she doesn't want windows open. She says that she doesn't like flies. She doesn't want to open the window, so she doesn't like flies. And that's the way it always is. You go in there, the air is really stale, and all the windows are shut, and you know, you just about suffocate from all the stale air. And this time it was stale hot air because we were in the middle of a heat wave. And so, and then we made the salad. So I bought the salad fixings. It was close to 14 pounds. It was 13 something, close to 14 pounds. So I made the salad, and I put the salad in bowls and dished the salads out. And after I paid for the lunch and I made lunch, she looked at my boyfriend and she said, thank you. I didn't matter, you know. So I just thought to myself, well, you know, WTF, you know. And then basically, and that night, there was no food for dinner. And so we went to this Turkish place, and we got some dinner, and my boyfriend paid for that. and that was close to 30 pounds. So we had to get dinner for ourselves and dinner for his mother because, there was no food in the house. What little food there were a few tins. She had a few tins of things, but all the bread, there was 3 loaves of bread that were molded completely through, all the way through. So you had to throw the bread out. There was butter. The butter was all molded. You had to throw that out. In the refrigerator, my boyfriend was looking in the refrigerator, and there were bowls of food in the refrigerator that were molded. So what little food there was molded and rotten, and you had to throw it out. So my boyfriend spent close to 30 pounds on dinner. And so what we got this, because, obviously we haven't got very much money. So we're always trying to look to save money. So we got this special where you had like 2 burgers, 2 fries, onion rings, and a drink for, I don't remember how much it was, 20 pounds or something. And then he got something for her. He got her his mother some chicken couillons and fries. And so, yeah, she ate all that. She gobbled that up, ate every bit of it. So she said that she was going to be fixing salmon for dinner. That never happened. She never fixed any salmon. The following day was a Sunday. And then so basically, we had to go to Tesco's because obviously there wasn't enough food. There's never enough food. That's another issue. There's never enough food. And I don't want to eat her food because she doesn't have anybody to take her shopping on a regular basis. So we went to Tesco's and we spent about 20 pounds. And then I spent 20 pounds, close to that, rounding it to 20 pounds. And so we got these ready meals, and they had a special of 2 ready meals for 6 pounds. So we got the 2 ready meals. And even when we left Tesco's, I said to my boyfriend, well, do you think we should have gotten a ready meal for your mother? I said, do you think we should go back to Tesco and get a ready meal for her? He said, no, that'll be okay. That'll be okay. So we got there, and Mike was taking the food out of the rucksack, and it was around 20 pounds. So far, I've spent 55 pounds for my train ticket, 14 pounds for the salad, so that's 69 pounds, and 20 pounds on the food at Tesco, so that's 89 pounds so far I've spent. And she saw these ready meals, and she says, oh, did you get one for me, and so he didn't get a ready meal for her. And so my boyfriend is a very thoughtful person. He's not like me, and he gave her his ready meal. And so what he had to eat for his lunch was leftover chips with feta cheese and olives. And then his mother, what she did was, I just had my ready meal in the ready meal container, let's not be pretentious. You're eating a ready meal, but no, she had to have a bowl, and she had to put the ready meal in a bowl and eat it in a bowl. And she ate every bit. I'm surprised that she didn't lick the bottom of the bowl out. And that night, I'm not sure exactly what we had for dinner. Maybe we had toast or something. And then the following day was Monday. And basically, we went into town, and we wanted to get some lunch, but this place that we wanted to have lunch at was closed. So we went to Greg's, and we just got a steak slice and a drink. That was our lunch, which I know that's all I needed, And then we went to after we went to the charity shops, we went to Sainsbury's. And again, I spent about another 20 pounds. So that's 109 pounds. So far, I've spent 109 pounds. And so I spent another 20 pounds because we got these big ready meals. We got these 2 big ready meals, like one with lasagna and one with some pasta. And then we got salads salad to go with it. So we were going to have lasagna and salad. And I already had oil and vinegar at my mother's house, at my boyfriend's mother's house, because we had bought salad fixings. So we were just going to have this pasta and salad. And then my boyfriend got some chocolate for his mother. But it couldn't be, just like Hershey's chocolate. He had to get her this special dark chocolate that was 70% cocoa, that was like 3 or 4 pounds a bar. If it had been me, I would have just got her some Hershey's or something. But he wanted to get her this special chocolate. So that was another 20 pounds. So far, I've spent 109 pounds, and it's only Monday. And then, so we went back to his house. And we had these ready meals. It was a big ready meal. So each ready meal was enough for 2 people. So we bought 2 ready meals. And so we went home and we had these ready meals for dinner. And again, she ate all that, And she said she was going to fix fish cakes for dinner one time. She never fixed any fish cakes. She never fixed a thing. Not one thing. And then, so on the Tuesday, we went to another town to get some fish and chips at this Chef Fred place. And then, so basically, what happened was, at this Chef Fred's, they had a special where you could get like 4 sausages and 2 large chips and mushy peas. And so, obviously, since my boyfriend and I, we can't afford to be eating out all the time anyway. We go to Handouts for food, But since they had a special and it was 15 pounds, and even though I wanted fish and chips, I thought, well, we need to save money. So we'll have this 15-pound special between the 2 of us. And we got fish and chips for his mother. We got a small portion of fish and chips for his mother because she always says that she doesn't need to eat a lot of food, And so went home for lunch, and I decided that, because we weren't going to get anything to eat at her place. So I decided that I'd have half of my fish and chips for lunch and half of my fish and chips for dinner. And it wasn't fish and chips, it was sausage and chips. She had fish and chips, so I didn't have fish and chips. And then my boyfriend, he decided he was going to do that too. He got fish cakes. So he decided he'd have half of his fish cakes for lunch and half of his fish cakes for dinner. And again, my boyfriend's mother, when she had that fish and chips, she ate every bite. Every bite. So it's obvious she's hungry. And on the Sunday, I said to her, we didn't know that you don't have any food. And the thing is if you don't have any food, don't invite people over. I don't invite people over to my house. I haven't got any food, And I just said, we didn't know that you didn't have any food. And she goes, oh, I've got food. It's in the freezer, And she didn't cook a thing. The whole time we were there, she didn't cook a thing. And the thing is she was expecting us to stay the whole week. She wanted us to stay the whole week so we'd keep going out every day and getting food and bringing food in so she wouldn't have to cook. We can't afford that. We can't afford to go out every day and get food. We go to Handouts, And so I'm just trying to get my train of thought sorted out. So on the Sunday, I just said, you can't carry on like this. I said, we didn't know you didn't have any food. So I was trying to talk to her and saying about ordering food over the phone, because some of these companies like Sainsbury's and Morrison's, they have a service where you can order food over the phone. Well, see, she doesn't want to order food over the phone because she doesn't want to give her debit card details over the phone. But that's how you have to do it. If you order something over the phone, you have to give them your debit card details. And then she said that, so I said, well, because she had no food in the house. She had no food in the house. There was a few little tins. There were a few little tins. But everything had gone off, And so I said, well, why don't we make an order for Sainsbury's? Why don't we order Sainsbury's online? So I had my new tablet that I got because I told my boyfriend I don't want him bringing his Chromebook over to his mother's house anymore. So I had my new tablet, and I said, let's make an order for Sainsbury's. And you had to pay £7.50 delivery charge. It was a whole afternoon. It took the whole afternoon for me to get this order out of her. But then she didn't want to put her debit card details on the internet because she thinks Sainsbury's is going to scam her. And so my boyfriend, he put his debit card details over the internet. And so, because we had to open an account with Sainsbury's and everything. And so we had to write down on a sheet of paper the Sainsbury's account and what his password was, you know. And so we ordered my boyfriend paid for the food because it was his mother and I didn't really feel comfortable paying for her food. And then she wrote him a check and she couldn't even write the check. She had to write out 3 checks before she got it right. So basically, because she didn't want to put her debit card details on the internet to Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's is not going to scam her. My boyfriend had to do it. And so that's another issue that, and so the food came on Tuesday and she was real happy to have the food because she had no food. We had already eaten all the food that I had bought. You know, I went shopping like on the Saturday, and then I went shopping on the Sunday, and then I went shopping on the Monday. We'd already eaten all the food I had bought, and so there was no more food. And so she was real happy that this order came in and she got some food. But she didn't want to, she had to pay £7.50 delivery charge, but she didn't want to put her card details on the internet because she's worried she's going to get scammed. She's not worried if we're going to get scammed. She doesn't care. She says that she can't get scammed because she doesn't have a computer in her house. But she's happy for us to use our computer to do things for her. She's happy for us to be at risk to do things for her. And that's just how selfish she is and how hypocritical she is, that she wants other people to use their computer to do things for her. She wants other people to use their debit card to do things for her because she's so paranoid about getting scammed. I have to pay my council tax and my water bill over the internet. I'm not happy about it, but I'll have to do it because you can get in big trouble if you don't pay your council tax, and you can get taken to court if you don't pay your water bill. So she was happy when she got her food that I instigated getting for her. I know she's going to complain about me because I just told her, I said, you can't carry on living like this. And this guy that she gives her a lift shopping, well, he had left a message on her machine, but she doesn't check the messages on her machine. So he was going to come on Friday to take her shopping. But so let's say we didn't get any shopping for her. We got the shopping for her on Tuesday. Well, let's say, we had food to eat on Tuesday because we had that fish and chips or sausage and chips. She would not have had any food in the house. She would not have had anything to eat from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, you know, I did the right thing by telling her, you can't carry on like this. And I did the right thing by placing an order for food for her. And my boyfriend used his card. And then so that was the issue of the food. She doesn't have any food in the house. When she does go shopping, she doesn't get very much food. She gets very little food. And then so that was why I wanted to go to Asda as soon as we got into town, because I knew there wasn't going to be any food because she doesn't have enough food in the house and she doesn't make enough food. And I knew we were going to be hungry. And so that's why I wanted to go get the salad fixings. And then we had the issue with the food. And we also had the issue with this hot house. And I told her, I said, the house was burning up. She could have opened the patio door to get some cool air in there, but she doesn't care. She doesn't care about other people. She only cares about herself. She cares about her children and her grandchildren, but she doesn't care about anybody else. And so she just told my boyfriend, you're not hot, are you? Because I was hot. I could have had a stroke, She's definitely at risk of having a stroke because she's sitting in that hot house with no windows open or anything, but I could have had a stroke. So they were sitting in there sweating like pigs. And I just told my boyfriend, I just said, well, I'm going to go it was 7 o'clock at night. And I said, well, I'm going to take a shower to cool off. So I went and took a shower to cool off, and I put on my nightgown, and I sat in the living room in my nightgown. And she didn't like it. Well, that was too bad, but I was completely covered up. I was covered up from head to toe because the nightgown goes to my ankles anyway. So the only thing she would see, like maybe my ankles and maybe a little bit of my neck, but that's the only thing she would see anyway. But even sitting in the living room, it was still burning up. Even in my nightgown, it was still burning up. So I just said, well, I'm going to go in the bedroom. Because when I was in the bedroom, I could open the windows at the top and get some fresh air in there. And so I spent most of my free time in the bedroom. I was either watching a video or making a video. But because she doesn't care. She doesn't care if I'm hot. She doesn't care if I'm hungry. And I could have had a stroke, And I've still got all these sores. And I think that's from the heat. All these sores on my arms. And that's from the heat. And I've got these sores here. You can see that. I'm just wondering. I don't know what that is. I'm going to give that till September. And if it doesn't go away about September, I'm going to go back to the breast clinic because that's where my, close to the incision, where I had my 2 lumpectomies. And then we found out something else. Okay, so for the last 25 years, since my boyfriend's mother's husband died, and it's not my boyfriend's father, by the way, my boyfriend's mother has been getting people to give her lifts. She got people to give her a lift to church. She got people to give her a lift shopping. She got people to give her a lift doctors. She got people to give her a lift to dentists. She got people running around after her all over the place. So her husband, who died, his children are running around after her because they're due to get an inheritance, and they're not going to get their inheritance until she passes away. And then when she passes away, the house is going to have to be sold, and then the house will be divided amongst all the children. So my boyfriend's mother's husband had 6 children, and my boyfriend's mother had 2 children, and we know that she's going to include this daughter he's got that's really nasty. That goes without saying. She's going to include her in the will. But so for the past 25 years, she's been getting people to give her lifts. She's been getting people to take her places. Nobody gives me a lift. I have to take the bus, and or walk. And but the family of the father, they're running around after her, doing things for her, because she's sitting in their inheritance. So they're staying on good terms with her because she's sitting in their inheritance. And then so, and this man, her neighbor would take her shopping at Tesco's, but then she died of cancer. And then so she asked the husband, would he continue taking her shopping at Tesco's? So he's like an unpaid carer because he has to take her shopping. He has to help her with her shopping. He has to take her home. He has to put her shopping away. He's an unpaid carer. He's doing all that stuff for her. And then when he's done with her, he goes back to Tesco's and he does his own shopping because he can't do his shopping and her shopping at the same time. And so the thing is I knew this situation was going on. I knew that the children of the husband were running around after her, and I knew that they had an interest in it because she's sitting in their inheritance. And this man that gives her a lift shopping, what it was that the wife had been taking her shopping, but she got cancer and died, and she asked the husband to keep on giving her a lift shopping. She also had people giving her a lift to church. And the thing is if people don't give her a lift to church, she won't go. I went to this church called St. Andrew's, and I spoke to ladies who had problems with their legs and stuff like that, and they couldn't get around, and so they couldn't take the bus because they couldn't walk to the bus stop, and they took taxis. They took a taxi to church. If my boyfriend's mother wanted to go to church that bad, she could have taken a taxi. But she just was reliant on people giving her lifts. She was reliant on everybody doing things for her. And one time, one of the things that she said to me, she says, I get people to help me. She was really proud that she gets people to help her. But nobody helps me. Nobody does anything for me. If I have a problem with my computer, I have to sort it out myself. And the other day, if you've been watching my videos, I had to pay £30 to get my computer fixed because I had inadvertently put some malware on my computer because they sold it on Microsoft Store, and I thought if it was on Microsoft Store, it would be safe, but it wasn't. And then so all these people, like the children of the husband, they have an interest in running around after her, doing for her. But this one man that takes her shopping, he just does it out of the goodness of his heart. He does it because the neighbor, his wife, asked him to do it when she died. But I found out, and my boyfriend told me it's a secret, so I can't divulge too much about it because my boyfriend told me it was a secret, and I can't even repeat something that I heard her say because my boyfriend said it was a secret. But we found out yesterday that my boyfriend's mother is a woman of means, and she can well afford to take a taxi. She can well afford to buy food. Now she's infirm, so she can't take a taxi now. She has to have somebody get her in the taxi and take her out of the taxi. And a normal taxi driver wouldn't want to do that. But I can't repeat this stuff because my boyfriend told me it's a secret. And even if I repeated what I heard her tell my boyfriend's brother, then it would probably be betraying the secret. And my boyfriend told me it's a secret, so I can't repeat it as much as I would like to. But she is a woman of means. She is a woman of means. She can well afford to take a taxi. She can well afford to buy food. And the thing is that this stepdaughter is bringing her clothes and things because this stepdaughter has a lot of rich friends, and they'll wear something once and then they'll never wear it again. And she was saying that this husband's daughter is bringing her these clothes, and she knows, I've told her, she knows I have to go to charity shops. She knows I have to go to handouts. How much would it have been for her to tell her my size and say, well, can you get something for my boyfriend's daughter, my son's girlfriend? She knows. She never once occurred to her to ask, could I have some of these clothes that had been worn only once? And then so she actually gave my boyfriend a top from Marks and Spencer's to sell on Vinted. And I saw the top, and it was a size 16. And I said, well, I like that top. And I asked my boyfriend, I said, can I have that top? It never once occurred. Here I am in a t-shirt from Primark. here I am wearing jeans and t-shirts because that's the only thing that I can take with me when I go visit her. Here I am going to handouts to get clothes and going to charity shops to get clothes and going to Primark and Poundland to get clothes. And she's just such a selfish woman, a selfish, inconsiderate, ungiving woman that it never even... maybe it did cross her mind. But she just thought that she wouldn't do it because she doesn't like me. She wouldn't do it. But they could have given me some of those clothes that have only been worn once, you know? And so basically, she's got people, the husband's daughter's giving her clothes from these rich people, and the husband's daughter coming to visit her, take her places. The husband's son is running around after her, taking places, buying her things. And she's got a cleaning lady. She doesn't like her cleaning lady. She thinks that her cleaning lady is stealing from her. And I don't want to say anything in that regard because of all the problems I've had in my accommodation. I don't want to say, no, she's not stealing. But she said that this cleaning lady stole a money box. And I asked my boyfriend, I said, would you go in her room, see if you can find this money box? But he didn't go in there, so we don't know what's happened to that money box. But my boyfriend thinks that she just misplaced it. And I don't want to say that she's just misplaced it because I know everything that has happened in my apartment. Then I don't want to say she's misplaced it. But my boyfriend, I wanted him to find that money box to determine whether or not it actually was taken. So she said to me that she doesn't care if this cleaning lady loses her job. But she could have said to the cleaning lady, look, I've got some things missing. Can you try to help me find them? But she's decided that this cleaning lady is stealing from her. And I don't know if it's true or not. I think that you need to, if things are coming up missing, you need to get to the bottom of it. Find out what's going on. And she also had this other woman that she was friends with. And then the woman stood her up and she never heard from her again. And I asked her about this woman and she goes, I don't care because I don't let people get close to me. Too right. She doesn't let people get close to her because when you get close to her and you get to know her, you realize she's not a nice person. And so she is a woman of means. She can easily afford to buy clothes. And she does. She goes to this place called Salt Rock and gets clothes. I can't go to Salt Rock. And then she can easily afford a taxi. She doesn't need people running around after her. She may now because she's infirm, but for the last 25 years, she didn't need it. She doesn't need people to buy her food. And the situation that I am in, here I am very close to the breadline. And for the last 11 years, whenever we went to her house, there was never enough food. When she cooked, she would fix really small portions so she could have a pudding because that's what she wanted was the pudding. But me and my boyfriend, we can't have really small portions. We need to have a substantial meal. And then so because the portions that she made were really small, we were hungry. So we would have to go shopping. And so I would say that for the last 11 years, if we went to visit her 3 times a year and stayed 5 days, we were probably, I bought the food, was probably spending 10 pounds a day. So that was 50 pounds a visit. And so that was 150 pounds a year. If you multiply that by 11 years, then I spent perhaps 1,650 pounds on food. She has well enough money to buy food. Well enough money. There's no reason why she's not buying food. There's no reason why she's not cooking food. There's no reason why she's making small portions. And so because she was making such small portions and we were hungry, I'd have to go to Tesco and spend, on average 10 pounds a day, sometimes more, but I'm just going to say 10 pounds a day. So in the last 11 years, I spent around 1,650 pounds subsidizing her food income. And she knows I'm on the breadline. She knows I have to go to food handouts. She knows that I have to eat cheap food. I have to go get free meals. She knows all that. And for her to allow me to subsidize our food bill when she can well afford, believe me, she can well afford to buy food. She can well afford to go into a restaurant. And for her to allow a destitute woman buy food for her. Even my boyfriend said, yeah, and she was eating your food too. She was eating my food too. The food that I bought, she would eat it too. So that's one thing that really sickens me, that she did that. She's a miserly, selfish woman. And if I didn't have to see her anymore, I wouldn't. For her to do that, for her to allow a woman who is destitute, who is very nearly on the breadline, buy her food when she can well afford to go to any shop she wants to go and buy pretty much anything, any shop on the high street, and pretty much buy anything that she wants. And for her to allow a poor woman to buy her food is just disgusting. It's disgusting. And then I even told my boyfriend, I said to him, I said, you've done without. My boyfriend's on Universal Credit. He's going to handouts too. He's getting free meals too. And she's well off. She's very well off. And she's allowed him to do that. She's allowed that situation to go on. And one time she said that she was going to pay for us to go on a vacation. She never paid for us to have any vacation. I'd like to go to Blackpool, but the train ticket is so expensive, I can't. That's what I'd like to do, go to Blackpool. And one time she told me she was going to give me her microwave oven. I never got it. One time she told me she was going to give me her TV. I never got it. And another time she gets attendance allowance and she says, I don't want it and I don't need it. And she told my boyfriend she was going to give him her attendance allowance. He never got it. She just says all these things. She's just a BSer. She doesn't carry out any of the things that she says she's going to do. And it just sickens me. It sickens me that I'm on the breadline, that I'm destitute, that I was forced out of my job. And another thing that she did, at least 2 times now, she said things about me to my boyfriend, very uncomplimentary things. She said that one time when I got sectioned the first time, that was brought about partly by my boyfriend's daughter's behavior. She just said to my boyfriend that without him, I would be nothing. And then another time, my boyfriend phoned her up to tell him that he was depressed, or she phoned him or he phoned her. And he told her he was depressed because he thought that he was going to confide in her. And she just said, you better be careful. You don't want to end up like your girlfriend. And if that wasn't bad enough, it was bad enough that she said that. But then she went on a tirade for several minutes saying things about me. And I know that because I was in the other room studying. And I heard her say all that when I was studying, and I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that she was saying all those things about me. But she didn't know that I could hear what she was saying, and so she thought she was speaking with impunity. And so all of the awful things she said to me, the way she's treated me appalling. She's treated me badly. I could tell you all the nasty things she said to me. And I've told you just 2 of the things that she said to my boyfriend, but she's treated me appallingly. And if I didn't have to see her anymore, I wouldn't. All this wealth she has means nothing to me because I think she's not a nice person. She's not a nice person. And I guess I've talked long enough about this issue, just telling you my trip report, telling you what I found out, telling you how badly I've been treated by my boyfriend's mother. And so I think I'll close this video. Thank you so much for taking an interest in my very pathetic and destitute life. And I get treated so badly by my boyfriend's mother. Bye.